Good evening, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by my merry band of cohorts. We have everyone's favorite Kirby of the Teacher variety.
Hey, howdy, hi there.
Who's actually in system and in game, unlike our other slowpoke,
Yes.
our resident Neela Deton.
What up, all? Alonzi.
I do enjoy giving him grief, but a couple of fun things to get started with in game and to go over this week. So I suppose we should go ahead and actually get started.
So the first one, you may have noticed it if you've been in game, is and I always want to make sure I say this correctly, the artisanal sonification system, or the ASS, is here. Yeah. Okay, and there is a YouTube video describing what it is. Go check it out. You can see it on the blog post, which Mr. Darkblade should be showing on his screen. And it says, the future of Star Trek is full of wonderful goods brought to life by replicators and new technologies every day. So the items you can get delivered to you through automation are almost magical. But you know deep in your heart that there's something missing. The cold metallic spaces of the 25th century lack the artistry that can only come with something that is truly handmade and organic. The best replicator can't compare to the home-brewed cup of Earl Grey, and the finest music comes from instruments made with love. So what has Star Trek done? They have recorded their devs making various sounds, and you can hear them. Make sure Darkblade has turned up his sound. You can hear them like this. So there are some various ones. You can hear a good portion of them from the fireworks. Kapow! Ooh, ow, ow! Boom. Things like that. When you beam up, there are some extra ones I've heard. Woodgy, 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 as an example. So there are lots of fun things. Explore. There are some Easter eggs in there. They are quite fun. Even when you start, when you go into full impulse, you'll hear engage in various forms. It's a fun little thing. It is only here for today. It's our April Fool's thing. So enjoy. Have fun with it. Any other comments, guys?
Yeah, not gonna lie, I want to keep it.
I know, right? I do. And check out the YouTube video because it is just hilarious.
Yes, I will have that for you guys in the notes. But this actually brings us to our next big thing that I wanted to touch base with you guys on, and this is for the Arc Point rewards. Now, you may have heard of the Arc Point rewards already. You do various little things just by logging into Arc, and you get points that you can redeem for Zen, other various rewards, some of which I want to show you guys here. Now, this was actually sent to me by Neela earlier today, who was kind enough to point this out. Normally he would be the one handling the console portion of this particular thing, but because of one of the rewards, I kind of stole it from him just a little bit. But the big thing that I wanted you guys to see is for the 9,000 Arc points, you can get the Kobali Samsar Cruiser. So for all of my tanks out there, that is something that you're definitely going to want to pick up for sure. Because that gives you access to the Kobali Warp Core, which gives you a pretty powerful shield heal, as well as the Regenerative Integrity Field, which is pretty much a staple in a lot of tanking builds, at least the ones that I would recommend anyway. But you can get that, you can get some lockbox keys, dilithium, pretty good bit of stuff.
So I'm gonna
Admiralty
ask
card, XP.
how much real life money is 9k, is 9,000 of these arc points? I'm curious now.
It's not real money. It is doing like achievements and stuff. Like certain achievements.
So how long would it take to earn 9k of these points? I'm curious.
Really not long. Because most of the achievements give pretty much substantial amount of points. So I'd say month, maybe 2 at the most.
Interesting. So
And
it
then
kind of make. Go ahead.
It's also if some console players are on PC too with the PC arc, those points that they have on the PC arc, and they sync the PC to the Xbox account, those points from PC will also be over on console, so you can get it just as faster.
Interesting. Now the reason I'm asking is because on PC, if you didn't get the kobali during the anniversary, the only way to get it is through the Phoenix boxes. But for the Phoenix boxes, it's a gamble. Obviously. Now obviously this is per character. You know, when I'm looking at this, I would say this is per character, correct?
No. Because I claimed
That's
it
per
earlier.
account?
I claimed it earlier today, and in the Arc app on Xbox, I can't claim it again. So I'm just guessing it's going to be per account. It says it gives me the date and says claimed.
Yeah, for the things like the samsar, stuff like that. I know whenever we originally linked our accounts, we got access to it was a tier 1 steamrunner, like the one we have on PC, and that you can claim on any future characters. So this, since it's pretty much linked to that, should be the same way.
And I'm not trying to do sour grapes, but you gotta admit there's kind of a difference there in the way they're handling it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, and I look to see what comes of it.
They probably wanted to do something like a big prize for the 9K. Figured that would be the biggest one.
Yeah, it's definitely a big prize. I'll give him that. It's interesting. Go ahead.
The points for the other ones are 5 keys is 2,000 points. The admiralty card is 500. XP boost is 500. And 25k dilithium is 1,000 points.
Okay.
But yeah, that's definitely going to encourage my tanks out there to go for the Kobali Samsar, because that is pretty much going to be a godsend for you guys. And is
definitely
one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, overall tank sets in the game. But, moving along to our next big thing, we have the first Contact Day celebration.
Yep. The first Contact Day celebration started Thursday, and basically celebrating the first contact of the humans and Vulcans when Cochrane made his first historic warp flight of the Phoenix. So from Thursday to April 6th, we'll be able to do a queue to visit Bozeman, Montana, gather parts, make our own Phoenix, see how far it can go for a Zephram Cochrane statue,
getting a bit of mic distortion on your end, dude. Give our resident Neela just a moment to fix the distortion.
As he was saying,
Anything?
March. Good?
Good for the moment.
Anything?
You're good for the moment.
But yeah, and that's what I was saying. Make the Phoenix, you'll get a Zephyr Cochran statue as a rep reward. You turn that into your event reputation. Only need 4 of them. You'll get a starship trait. You'll get some dilithium. A Phoenix hollow emitter for your shuttles.
Now you're kind of moving on to the next blog there.
Eh.
Eh.
It kind of ties in, so whatever.
It does.
Level captains level 10 and higher can go into the event. Even Klingon and Romulan. So if you're Klingon and Romulan, you can don't feel bad. You'll be able to do it.
So as long as you are level 10 or above, you will be able to participate. And so let's delve into those rewards. So it says, when you complete the first Contact Day event, you'll get a Zephyr Cochran Memorial Holiday hologram voucher. And this says limit 1 per day. So that goes on a 20-hour rotation. 1 per day per character, so you can do it on more than 1 character in your account. You need a minimum of 4 holograms to receive a special event prize box, and that includes the following. So you get more than 1 reward. You get everything in this box. So the first thing is the Starship trait. Theta radiation infused evasive maneuvers. So when this trait is active, using evasive maneuvers will inject theta radiation into the drive throttle, sending a shockwave behind your ship which damages enemies. Lingering theta radiation continues to inflict damage on enemy ships for a brief duration. So, as it has been described, basically, when you go into evasive maneuvers, your ship passes gas. And there it is. Alright, you also get the Phoenix replica, which is a toy rocket resembling the Phoenix that Zephyr Cochran flew in First Contact. Alright, and then the Phoenix hollow emitter. This is the same one that the Ferengis sell, except this one is permanent. So makes your ships, your shuttles, look like the Phoenix for unlimited duration. Okay? And those who find themselves with additional holograms after receiving the special event prize box, there will be a recurring reputation project that rewards a box of 100 marks of your choice. They require a single voucher, and it will only be available while the event is active, so turn in your vouchers while you can. Alright, so those are the rewards for the First Contact Day event. Next up. Back to you, Chris.
So next we have our RP blog for this event. I've not gone through
Writing contest.
writing contest. Apparently I am out of order. Yeah, that's apparently what happens when I don't pay as good of attention as I thought. But basically, what they're doing is they're doing a special writing contest for the event that details your character's first contact type of thing. Tells about some of the things you can get. For first place, you get the Hollow Novelist title, the Phoenix Admiralty card, or Admiralty, just to annoy Kirby. You get 5 Phoenix prize packs as well. So you could potentially luck out and get something really great from the Phoenix packs. Second place, you get the Hollow Novelist title, the Admiralty card, and then 3 Phoenix packs. For third place, you get the title, the card, and then 1 Phoenix prize pack. And then it answers some of the questions. What characters should you write about? Will they be available to all platforms? And how many times can you submit entries, and can you publish the entries elsewhere? So that is some stuff there, and it details how you can submit it. You can submit them to ambassadorkale@gmail.com before April the 14th for a chance to win.
There are a couple things important to note. So the contest is specifically about your personal characters within STO. Okay? So they will not accept stories about canon Star Trek players. Okay, so if you want to write about Picard's first contact, can't do it. Okay? The last one, may I publish my entry elsewhere? If you send something in, you have to wait to publish it anywhere else until they have chosen the winners. Okay, so don't send it in and then publish it in your blog. Okay? So you'll have to wait and keep it under wraps. 2 important notes. Anything else?
Pretty much it for that one. But moving along.
On to you, Neela.
For the first contact, this is the story blog. Basically, when I was reading it, it was just going about 3 of the Enterprise F's crew members helping out with the first contact day celebration in Montana, and just giving their different takes on it. It's a pretty good read. Yeah, it has Acacian, Vulcan, and what I found kind of cool was the Vulcan was able to meet with the Vulcan that did first contact. That's really about it for that one.
So yeah, it's definitely very interesting. They each have their, as Neela said, they each have their own impression, but I think that's it's interesting to see their takes on it.
I personally haven't delved
It's definitely a good
too
read.
much into it yet.
Yeah, I say take a read.
Yep, we will have that for you guys, but moving on to our next big thing.
Maybe.
And this next one, oh yeah, I get to do the Dauntless. The Dauntless is coming to console. This is often being called the Jellyfish. And this is a nice little science ship. If you love science and you really want a ship that'll give you some science potential, this is one of them that does. This was one of the top ships for a very long time. It can do awesome stuff. So For those of you that don't remember where the Dauntless comes from, it came from the Voyager series. It was actually alien in origin. An alien tried to trick them into leaving Voyager and boarding this ship that was made to look like a Federation ship with particle synthesis to fool them. And he was going to take them to the Borg and let them be assimilated. And so in 2410, the blueprints for the original alien starship were closely examined and they were able to build it. So now you can buy it for 3,000 Zen. So minimum rank Vice Admiral, so it is a level 40 ship. You can get it in the Sea Store. Hull
50.
strength starts at 50. Hull strength starts at 29,700 and goes up to 36,000 at level 60. So it is a bit squishy. Shield modifier is 1.3, that's one of the highest. And it does have 3-4 weapons, 3 aft, as all science, or most science vessels do. You do have a secondary deflector on it, which is just awesome. Only 3 device slots. Bridge officer stations, you have Lieutenant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Engineering, Lieutenant Intel / Psi, and Commander Psi. So there are no universals here. You have to go with what you get, but you do get a strong layout. It is very nice. Console modifications, 3 tactical, 2 engineering, 5 science. Base turn rate is 14 degrees per second. It turns beautifully. 50 inertia. Let's see, plus 10 weapon and plus 10 auxiliary. This thing is, for science ships, it really is a beast. Let me tell you. It does have a universal console particle synthesizer, which is quite interesting. And the trait that comes with it is Radiant Nanite Cloud, which does allow you, after achieving level 5, you unlock Radio Nanite Cloud Starship trait. While this trait is slotted, all hull heal bridge officer abilities will heal for an additional 25% over 4 seconds in a 3-kilometer radius. This is actually quite good if you want to heal your friends, or if you have pets that are near you, you can heal one of your pets and heal yourself for a bit more, that kind of thing. So there are definitely ways to use this, and it's a very nice trait for a squishy boat, believe me. So quite nice little ship. I encourage you, if you have a flair for science or wish to do science, space wizardry, try it out. And console, you will not be sorry.
And if Mr. Darkblade wants to switch to his in-game, he can show off the Dauntless. Oh, that's right next to him.
And that little tiny thing is the ship. I have
Yes, it is quite tiny.
two big gripes with the Dauntless, and this is just me. One is that you're pretty much locked to a specific set of off seating, which I can live with, I guess, because it's pretty decent. The one thing that annoys me more than anything, they got the size of the ship wrong. It's a tiny little thing in game, when in actuality on the show it was just as big, if not bigger than Voyager was. So
Okay.
that is my biggest gripe with it, but anyway.
I can see where that would be. A gripe. But it is a very strong ship. I really like the tactical seating in there. It's one of the few science ships that I've seen that have that strong of a tactical seating. So it really allows you to be able to get a lot of power in there without having to sacrifice your science. You know, because a lot of times you'll have to give up if you want that kind of power to back up your tactical. You'll have to give up a universal that would usually back up either psi or your tac. But because this has no universals and it's all decided for you, you get the backup and you get the psi. You get the strong psi because you get, let me look at those again because it's off the top of my head. Because you get the lieutenant and the commander, and you still get the lieutenant and the lieutenant commander tac. So you get a good deal of psi, and you get a good deal of tac in there. So I think it's got a nice balance.
It does.
But yes. Alrighty, moving on. Back to you, Chris.
And this is for our PC players. This is the last chance for the 26th Century Dreadnought R&D promotion at the moment. This has been running from the 9th of March and will be running until the April the 3rd, which is Monday. So if you've been thinking about getting one of the ships, either the Enterprise J Universe variant for the Federation, the Durgoth Temporal Heavy Dreadnought for the Klingons, or the Valkis for the Romulans, now is your last chance to get it. You've only got a couple of days left at the time that we filmed this. You can get your R&D packs in one of two ways at the moment. You can either get them in singles for 300 Zen, or you can purchase them in groups of 4 for 1,000 Zen. Now, if you don't get the ship, you will get 10 low-buy crystals, so at the very least, you're guaranteed a little bit of low-buy crystals. Or perhaps you could get lucky and end up dropping one of the ships. Now, the other way you can get these packs is to purchase them off of the exchange from people that are selling them. And it is important to note that, because this is a question that comes up nearly every single time they do a promotion, will I lose any promotion packs once the promotion ends? And the answer to that is no. In fact, it makes clear right here. It says, only newly purchased R&D packs will offer the chance to win the special requisition pack during the promotional event. Packs purchased before or after the event will not offer the bonus low-buy or the requisition pack. Packs purchased during the event but opened after the event ends will still benefit from this promotion's bonus rewards. So, if you have however many packs sitting around until a year or so after the event, then you'll still be able to benefit from this go around. But
yes.
I highly recommend it. I love my Universe class. Very potently powerful ship. But, any comments on that one, guys?
No, it is a really good ship. From what I'm told, it's a really good ship. I haven't popped one yet. Hoping to.
I love the design of it.
But, yeah, it looks flat as a pancake. But it's...
Would it be a jerk thing of me to say that I got mine for 500 million EC and then dropped another one?
Can we kill him now?
Yes. Yes, it would.
Not that I would
I don't
accuse
know.
these guys or anything.
He's streaming the show, so we gotta wait until we're done.
We'll kill him at the end of the show as he hits the end button.
Yep.
All they hear is all all anyone will hear is a muffled scream and then blackness.
Yep. No, right after he says all clear, we get him. You hold him down, I'll run him over. Okay. You heard nothing, folks. Nothing.
Not that a murder plot wasn't
Okay.
just hatched on air or anything. But in all seriousness, let's definitely go out there and get your ships now and everything, because they're only going to go up from here.
See, but you forget something, Chris. If we say April Fools, then nobody can use it against us.
Yep.
Right.
Right. You heard nothing, folks. Okay, moving right along. Whose turn is it to read?
It would be Neela's.
Neela's?
We got the Allied Escort bundle by P with the Cation Sikaris Escort, the SARoss and Slith Escort, and the Romulan Riemann Hathos Warbird. They come with all T6. They are for level 50 players. They come with a new heavy weapon called a railgun. It deals kinetic damage periodically and fires like a standard weapon. Upgrade like a standard weapon. Can only be swapped out for another heavy weapon and placed in any Starship heavy weapon slot. They fire in a 360-degree arc, dual heavy kinetic damage to your target, and a portion will bypass the shield. The heavy weapons new slot, they will be some heavy weapon slots will be added to other ships in the future. It comes with a universal console, railgun destabilizer module. When you activate the console, your starship will overload its railgun and deliver a withering barrage of explosive projectiles at random nearby enemies. Projectiles deal heavy kinetic damage, an area effect with a small amount of shield pen. If hull strength is low at the end of your barrage, you will receive a large increase to your flight speed, damage resistance, and defense for a brief time. Otherwise, the railgun's barrage ability recharge time will be reduced slightly. There's also a passive boost to your impulse and max weapon power. Can only be equipped on one of the 3 escorts. And after the starship trait for all 3 is hit and run, which when slotted evasive maneuver will provide a very high damage resistant rating buff, and when it expires you'll receive a weapon damage and critical hit damage buff for a short time. Anything else? What have you guys had any luck with them?
I haven't been able to afford one, but from what I've heard, it was no secret that the player base thought they were pulling an April Fool's joke with this, because the railgun on the first day of release healed instead of doing damage. Which was, I don't know who got it for that one. But it was quite an interesting bug. But yeah. I think somebody put a minus sign outside of the parentheses instead of inside.
Yeah, that was a rather fun thing.
Yes, it was. I heard reports of people pugging ISAs and purposely healing the gate and the tac cube.
Yeah, they did
The
that.
railgun. Yeah, just for funsies. So yeah.
Moving along to our
Yeah.
stats, and then I can actually show folks some of what this looks like in game.
Alright, so escort bundle stats. Let's see it. Okay, so they're pretty much the same for all of them. So we have for the Shikaris, we have starting at level 50, and we have 3,400, 500 hull at level 50, 40,000 at level 60. Shield modifier is 1, 4 weapons, 3 aft, so your standard escort layout. Bridge officer stations, 1 lieutenant tac, 1 commander tac, 1 lieutenant engineering, 1 lieutenant commander science / intel, and 1 lieutenant universal. Then we have console modifiers are 4 tactical, 2 engineering, 4 science. Base turn rate is 16, nice and maneuverable. Inertia is 70, plus 10 to weapon power and plus 10 to engine power. Console universal railgun destabilizer module, which we just heard described. And we have the heavy weapon slot, which has the railgun. It can load dual cannons, and it has the escort mastery package with the hit and run starship trait. Okay, and moving down, we have the Slithis escort, which has pretty much, which has the same stats, so no need to go over them again.
Hashtag T6
And then, yep. And then the Hathos Warbird has slightly different. So we have a slightly stronger hull, 36,225 at level 50, 42,000 at level 60, a lower shield modifier at 0.95. The weapons and device slots are the same. It looks like, yep, the bridge officer stations are the same, as are the consoles. Base turn rate, looks like those are the only differences, except it does have a battle cloak. And the singularity core, of course. And there we go. And then, of course, there's fleet versions of all of these, which have higher hulls and higher shield modifiers.
And additional console.
Alright. And an additional console, you are correct. And I forgot to mention that, which looks like on the Romulan is tactical. On the where is it?
Tackle.
Looks like it's tactical on all of them. Yep. Alright, so it is tactical on all of them. And there we go. Let's see anything else. And of course the railgun, as you heard described in the other one. Yep. And there will be, just so you know, if you didn't see it in the other one, heavy weapons are a new item slot in your ship's inventory UI. Okay, so you cannot put a normal weapon there. You can only put heavy weapons there, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what does it matter, because these are the only ships with heavy weapons. Now for right now they are. But they can be upgraded like normal weapons, and will show up in your weapons UI. And they can be set to auto fire like regular weapons. However, they are not affected by weapons mode like beam overload or torpedo high yield, etc. So initially these starships are the only ones with them. But upon Season 13's release, many starships will be receiving a heavy weapon slot. Tier 6 raiders and all Tier 6 starships that meet these 3 criteria, so listen carefully. A tactical commander seat, 7 weapons and 1 or fewer hangar bays. Okay? So, for example, a scimitar will not be getting a heavy raider or a heavy weapon seat. Why? Because a scimitar has 8 weapons, not 7. Okay? So it has to meet all of these 3 criteria here. Okay? So, they will receive a heavy weapon slot and access to a basic upgradable heavy weapon. So you will be getting a heavy weapon and a heavy weapon slot on your escorts that meet these criteria that are listed in the blog. And this will happen retroactively, so if you are already in possession of one of the starships, you'll have this upon Season 13's release. You will need to claim a heavy weapon from the Reclaim tab of the Dilithium store. It will not cost you any dilithium. Okay, and any newly acquired starships with a heavy weapon slot will come equipped with a heavy weapon by default. Alright, so that's the big thing, and then of course everything else we reviewed in the previous blog. So what do you guys think?
And
Comments, questions?
I suppose really quickly I can give some basic numbers for folks since I'm sitting in the ship. For your heavy railgun, you can kind of see what it's working with at the moment. Now, all I did was throw some basic stuff on here. I've not even really kitted this ship out. I basically just flew it out here to sit in to look pretty for you guys. But for the railgun, you can see 2792.7 kinetic damage. So not exactly a light weapon, pun intended. Then it's a 20% shield pen, so pretty potent as far as the bypass goes. For the console, you can see the passives that it gives, which is the 17.8 impulse expertise, 7.5 max all subsystems, so pretty decent power gen there. And then of course you have the actual effect, which is the 3161.9 kinetic damage, and you can kind of see the other buffs that it gives you. But that's the numbers as far as that goes. The actual trait, you can kind of see what it reads here. 75 bonus damage resistance. Then you have the upon evasive maneuvers expiring, the 20% all damage for 8 seconds, and 30% critical chance for 8 seconds. Very, very potent trait for anybody that uses the evasive maneuvers. I wouldn't exactly say escorts online. I know it's looking like that at the moment, but I was actually spitballing with some folks as well, and if you paid attention to how they worded the blog to reinforce the damage roll, I'm actually thinking that this could be the first step that they take towards implementing a Trinity-based system. Now, do I know that they're going to do that? No, but it's something that I'm kind of spitballing. So for cruisers, you might get a secondary warp core as a hypothetical, or a secondary shield. Again, I have no idea if they're going to do that or not. That's just me spitballing. But any comments there, Neela?
Yeah, everything I've been seeing now kind of points to them trying to get a Trinity. Might not be. It probably won't be like WoW Trinity, but it'll still be a Trinity.
Yep. Our thoughts of the exact form was that they'll have the Trinity. You'll still be able to work with pretty much any ship you like. It's just more so them saying, well, and this is, again, all hypothetical, folks. I'm not saying they are implementing a Trinity. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just spitballing myself. But they may do it if they did implement it, saying, well, you can use any ship, but you're going to get more advantages if you use one that tailors more towards your actual captain career. I don't know, that's just me anyway. But, moving right along, Kirby, I believe, has stepped away for the moment. We have the week 7 of our Temporal Agent rewards. So, if you've been doing the Temporal Agent stuff, you've got 7th week of everything. This week is
just the bonus. Just no
bonus.
server goal to go for.
Okay.
Which I believe it was 50% bonus to marks for the entire week.
So, if you're looking to farm up some of those Borg marks to get that piece of gear, or if you're looking maybe to finish off some of those Terran marks, then get out there and go run some marks. Now is definitely the best time to do that. But, not really a lot to say about that, I don't guess.
Nope.
It's,
moving right along to our next blog.
Yep.
Got a R&D weekend for console, which started Thursday, March 30th, and goes until Monday, April 3rd, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you're working on any crafting school, beam, cannon, or you're making stuff, you'll have a better chance to either make more of the stuff, and when you do the 20-hour projects, you'll get, double the experience for it?
I think.
And when you do harvest nodes in the mission maps, you'll get 2 extra R&D materials and also 10 dill ore, and have a chance to give out a R&D catalyst during this event. Welcome back, Kirby.
Thank you.
And Kirby has rejoined us.
Yes, sir.
So go on out there and go out there and run some advanced and elite for more crafting materials and run those projects.
But we're on season 13, escalation.
And whose turn is that?
That would be you.
Is that mine? Oh, perfect timing I have. Alright. So, coming April 25th is the next season in STO for PC players, and that is called Escalation. So, it says, the battle for the galaxy continues to escalate. The season brings with it a brand new featured episode, new types of queues, through our war games system that adds new challenges and new ways to play against other captains. So this is interesting. A new reputation that features class-specific space and ground sets, and the player potential system, which match players in war games and PvP queues based on relative player skill. And then it tells us here's what to expect. When season 13 launches, our new episode is going to be called In Mirrors and Smoke. Players will journey with their Lucari companion, Captain Kumarke, as she explores her people's past and battles a new threat from the marauding Zenkathi. And then War Games. The War Games queues will put players in head-to-head competitive PvE scenarios. These new queues split 10 players, can't word tonight, into 2 teams of 5 who must race to complete objectives before the other team succeeds. Yes.
Do you mean
so
complete?
It's not... Yes. No, you're right. Complete. Thank you. Like I said, I can't words tonight. So you will be split into 2 teams of 5, but you're not going to be pew-pewing each other. Instead, you will be working in teams and racing to complete the objectives. And then balancing. To support the new Wargame system, we've created a player potential system, try saying that 5 times fast, that will match you to other players in a brand new way. Our goal is always to ensure that every decision the captain makes is an effective one. With that in mind, we've made many changes to space combat that encourage captains to explore new aspects of gameplay. These changes will go live with Season 13. So that balancing that you may have heard about is coming April 25th, in addition to Season 13. We'll have more details on Star Trek Online Season 13 in weeks to come. Stay tuned and we'll see you in game. So that is the summary. But yeah, it looks to be, I think it looks to be quite interesting. The War Games definitely looks interesting. Thoughts, comments?
Get out there and test your tail feathers off, because
Yep.
with as much stuff that's changing in space, especially, the old metas are pretty much gone and out the window, and there's no going back to them. So, with some testing, with some slight modifications and refinement over the next couple weeks, any losses that you could potentially suffer should be very small or even outright negligible. I think I said this last week, but
Yes.
personally, I have seen a slight loss in DPS numerically, but overall the ship is actually hitting a lot harder than it did before.
Which is an interesting difference, yeah.
Oh yeah. The best comparison I could give for people out there would be the stat squish that World of Warcraft did a couple of years ago. Essentially what they did was they took the numbers, they dropped them down numerically, you were still hitting for the same thing, perhaps even harder in some cases, just the numerical value was a lot different.
Interesting way of doing it. Yeah, and I mean, we've said it, I don't know how many times, but in every game, there comes a point where the devs have to do something, have to change something in order to be able to, for the game to continue. And, I mean, reasonably continue. And we're pretty close to that right now, which is why they're doing this. Because, I mean, if you look around, especially at the higher end players, it's ridiculously easy. There's been a bunch of power creep recently that have brought a lot of players up and have made it fairly easy at end game to be able to, get high DPS scores. And, and then there's some things that could be considered broken skills and broken mechanics, and so they're going through, they're giving it a pass, and they're fixing it, which needs to be done. It does need it.
It does suck
So,
when stuff like that gets changed. I'll admit it, but
it does.
At the end of the day, and some people feel free to disagree with me if you want to, But for me personally, I would rather eat a potential loss to my damage or whatever other stat you want to say and have a lot more balanced gameplay than what I could have otherwise. When
Yeah.
any ability or any console, Plasmonic Leech being a prime example, becomes the answer for everything, then it's time for that thing to take a hit.
Well, I mean, when you have an ability that can make a one hit, and this is not over the entire game, this was one hit with this ability that can do 14 million damage in one single hit. There's something wrong there. And I'm not making that up. There is an ability right now on holodeck that can do that, has done that. And, and they're fixing that ability in the balancing. So, they are fixing that. But, when you have an ability that can do that, there's something wrong with that ability.
Yeah. But,
So,
that is sort of our PSA for this. Like I say, don't panic.
Yep.
You've got time to prepare. Definitely get on there and test. Make sure you know what you want to roll with under the new system.
yes, definitely test. Did we say test?
I don't know. I don't think you did.
And then, no, test again. But get on Dribble. Change things up a bit. Test and see what you're going to get if you make no changes. And then change things up a little bit. See what you can do to either keep or even improve your DPS. If that's what you're into. But yeah, definitely test. Alright, I think we can move on.
But, moving along, I believe this one is mine.
Yep.
We have the PC patch notes for the 30th. This introduced the first Contact Day queue, which was the new 5-person cross-faction ground queue for captains level 10 and above. Then you visit the memorial site, and you compete with other players to scavenge the parts to make the Phoenix. You launch it off, and you get the hologram voucher once per day. You only need 4 of them to collect the rewards, and then it links back to the other blogs for folks looking for more info. They also resolved an issue where the FPS would drop significantly when pressing randomize in the Tailor.
Thank God.
Exactly. Resolved a couple of issues where kit modules were blank items in the player's inventory. Resolved an issue where an AFK penalty was being put in place in some private queues, and the kinetic cutting beam now has a more accurate description.
Awesome.
Not too terribly much there, but any thoughts, guys?
Well, definitely the FPS drops, I know, are a plague upon players, so that's a good thing they're working on it. And the cutting beam has a clear description. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, my only thing is just a little tip for everyone doing the first Contact Day. If you haven't noticed, when you collect the parts, underneath your player portrait, you'll see 3 little panels. One for engines, one for hull, and one for stabilizers. And it will tell you how many of each you have. Your Phoenix might be engine heavy, hull heavy, or stabilizer heavy.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Moving along to our next patch note.
This one's really easy.
Yeah, patch note. Alright, you're up, Neela.
Patch note 331.17. They resolved the issue where the heavy escort railgun was healing enemies instead of damaging them. There you go, that's it.
Not really a lot to say on that one, except,
Yep.
whoever that Aenir was that designed it, yeah, I'm sure he might have got a good kick in the rear.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that said Aenirs, not me.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So, but yeah, as I said, a lot of fun was had going into, for example, ISA's infected, Space Advanced, and healing the gate and the cube. Yeah, it was lots of fun. I did not do it personally, but I heard of others that did.
But I suppose
Alright.
we should move right along, and this one is on the teacher.
Alright, so we have a YouTuber. His name is... What was that name again? Dynamite... Hold on.
Dynamite Sloth.
Dynamite Sloth. I can never read it. I can never remember it. So, he is a YouTuber who has played on Xbox One, and he's published his first impressions. And,
He didn't publish this.
Oh, he did an
So-
interview with what his
Yeah.
first impressions were. Well, go ahead, Neela. You know more about this than I did. I was only able to give it a quick skim.
He was playing, and then this red shirt away. Red shirts always die. Contacted him to do first impressions about it. So basically, I'm only going to touch on a couple of things he said. They asked what was his overall impression of the game. Did it feel immersive and captivating or bland and boring? He said his overall impression was that it was very immersive. There were some things bland and boring, but he said the fun that he was having outweighs that, and how big everything feels within the game baffles him, because he never played a game like this one before. And then he said everything is so cool. And then
Awesome.
going down a question, they asked about the controls, and he said the controls were rather difficult at first, mostly with the flying. But at the end of the day, it's still a learning experience that he's having fun with. Over time, he said he'll have most of the controls figured out.
Okay.
The biggest thing that he said that impressed him was just the vast amount of space, all the sectors, planets, moons, and all the space. They asked him if the one thing he would change. He said to add more tutorials, because he said sometimes he felt lost, and it was difficult for him to be immersed when he was on Google and YouTube trying to figure out what the hell he was doing wrong.
Okay.
Then finally, his last little thing was, they asked, would you recommend this game to someone considering playing it? And he said he would absolutely recommend it. He's like, first, it's free to play. What's to lose besides some time? When he first played it, the game for 10 minutes, when it released on Xbox, he thought it was going to be a super tactical, turn-based nightmare. He's not a fan of turn-based. So when he jumped on it for his YouTube channel, and he started screwing around and playing the game, he realized how much of a fun game it is, and it is worth all around.
Well, sounds like a pretty good review. That is pretty awesome. Like I said, I only had a chance to skim through it, which is why Neela took over there. But it was quite a long article, and quite interesting from what I could gather from it. But yeah, overall a good review from Dynamite Sloth. Whew, got that right this time. So, thanks for the shout out, man. Any comments, Chris?
Seems like a pretty legit interview.
Awesome.
But moving right along with our next thing, we have our budget build for this week. And this actually came at a viewer request and was put together by our own resident TeacherKirby.
Yes. And I have to say it this way, folks. Our viewer requested that we call it the Wii build. So, now the reason for this, we'll start off with the starship. And I'm saying that so that Mr. Darkblade there can show you what it is. So if you mouse over the far right weapon, at the top you see it is a crit D thrust. Yeah, crit D times 2 thrust. And the reason I'm bringing your attention to this is because we don't normally use crit D times 2 thrust. All of the weapons that are not from the quantum phase are crit D2 thrust, and the reason for that, we were provided that by the viewer. So we were told we have to use these weapons, make a build out of it. So the thrust mod improves or increases slightly the speed and turn rate of your starship. So there you go. That's why it's called the Wii build. Okay, now in all seriousness here. So we were told to use the Guardian Cruiser, and we were given a budget of 10 million EC, all of which we did not use. So, as far as most of the weapons, I used the Quantum Phase set. I did use the entire 3-piece. So if you look, the consoles down there in my engineering consoles. And then we used, of course, the Crit D2 thrust phasers that we were given by our viewer. And then we have, I went with the Soul Defense set, give them a little bit of tankiness. And then I went with the Temporal Phase Overcharged Warp Core, which gives the same effect as the Temporal Negotiator, in which gives you a cooldown reduction on all of your skills, all of your bridge officer skills, once every 5 minutes on the Temporal Negotiator. Alright, and then for devices, I put in our subspace field modulator that gives us a good oh crap button. And then to go with the same theme of speed, you can grind out or acquire a device called a deuterium surplus. Gives you an extra boost of speed. So if you're not going fast enough with all the thrust we've put on this ship, then this will help you get a little more, a little faster there. And then of course we have some energy amplifiers and weapon batteries to help a little with DPS if you need it. Alright, and then so now down to consoles. So engineering consoles, I have the quantum phase converter, which completes the quantum phase weapon set. And then I have the conductive RCS accelerator Mark 12. This does not have a mod yet, so we're going with that. And then I have 2 EPS flow regulators. Now this is set up to function under the new or to be set up for the new balance changes. And one of the things we have found out is that EPS, or power transfer rate, is going to be rather important under the new system. So with as many beams as he has on his ship, he's got 7 beams, he's going to want to have some power transfer rate, so we gave him 2. And then to help reduce cooldowns, I gave him the bioneural gel packs to give some extra crit chance and crit severity. I gave him the assimilated module. And then for a little extra power and some extra crit chance, I gave him the 0-point energy conduit. Alright, and then of course, now these are, 2 of these are rep items, actually all of these are rep items, and the conductive RCS, of course, we got from the exchange with no mod, it's rather cheap, and then the EPS flow regulators, again from the exchange, rather cheap at Mark 12 purple. And all 3 of the science consoles are reputation items. And then the tactical consoles we got from Of Signs and Portents. It gives a Mark 12 purple phaser relay. So that gives you energy specific. Alright, moving on to the bridge officer skills. So we did have, this was a fun one to build. I collaborated a bit with Darkblade on this. Okay, so we have here, starting at the top, we chose the Ensign Universal as a tactical, and we put in chemosite laced weaponry. That's where part of our EC went to. That was one of the only big expenditures we had. And then for tactical, we have, for the Lieutenant Commander TAC, we had Fire at Will 1, Attack Pattern Beta 1, and Fire at Will 3. Doubling up on our Fire at Wills to make sure we get the most out of it. And then for the engineering/intelligence, the lieutenant slot, we did use 2 copies of override subsystem safeties, and this would give some extra power to help him get some extra DPS out of that. And then for our commander engineering, we used auxiliary to the structural integrity field 3, emergency power to weapons 3, emergency power to weapons 2, and engineering team 1. The aux to structural integrity is a nice small cooldown, only 15-second cooldown, hull heal and resistance, so it's very, very nice. And the engineering team not only gives you a strong hull heal, but it does also clear any offline subsystems. And the emergency power to weapons not only give a damage buff, but also give you extra power to your weapons. Alright, and then science, we have destabilizing resonance beam 2. That is a very nice debuff to your enemies. And hazard emitter 2 and science team 1. I almost drew a blank there with that skill. How bad is that? Alright, now moving along.
Slipping in.
I know, right? Nah, it's my meds, I'm telling you.
The big 40.
It's my meds. Hey, be quiet. 29.
Right.
I'm 29. I've been 29 11 times, but I am 29. Alright, for the space skills. Okay, so we have gone with a very balanced set of skills here. So for the lieutenant, we put, obviously you can see the lieutenant skill, we did put 3 in the energy weapon training. That's one of the important ones. We did, to offset in the lieutenant commander, we did put 3 points in the targeting expertise. We did this because under the new system, Fire at Will is going to have a built-in accuracy debuff, so this will help to offset that. So putting 3 points into there is one of the things that we've done to help this to function well under the new system. And then we have, of course, our drain expertise. We did give it a little impulse expertise to make it go even faster than it's already going to. And of course we want that EPS so that we can have our power return to our subsystem faster after firing. Let's see. For commander, we did give 1 point in hull plating to boost the hull a bit. And then the other important thing, we did put 3 points each in weapon amplification and weapon specialization in order to get as much crit chance and crit severity as we can. Captain points. Again, power is going to be important because that plasmonic leech is being nerfed, is being changed. It will now only drain 7.5 per subsystem, or not drain, it will give you 7.5 per subsystem. So it's going to be important to have other sources of power. So we put points, made sure we put points in everything that gives us power. So that's why for the engineering, on the captain side, all those power things are there. We made sure, because we have destabilizing resonance beam, and to give us flexibility if we want to change the build later, we put points in EPG, exotic particle generators. My goodness, can't words tonight. And then of course we put 3 points in long range targeting sensors, because you should always do that on a DPS build. And then 3 points in hull penetration, because you always got to get that hull down. So, and then of course Admiral, we put 3 points in our power and the warp core expertise. Can't think tonight. Warp core potential, and then of course warp core efficiency. And then we put 3 points into our science, scientific readiness. Ugh. So that, because our science abilities tend to have the longest cooldowns, so that'll let us have the ability to have those up a bit faster. So that is our skill tree. It is again fairly balanced. And then for specialization, I went with intelligence because that has the flanking, and then strategist. So I think with all the moving around he's going to do, he's really going to be able to benefit from that flanking. And then strategist, because strategist has a lot of really good benefits. Alright, and then on to captain and ground. We're going to look at personal traits. So we've got here accurate, and then beam barrage, beam training, and then nanite repair matrix, which triggers a hull heal when your hull drops below 50% strength. This can activate once every 90 seconds. Nice little get out of dodge button. And then of course fleet coordinator, which is just free DPS, innocuous, operative, point blank shot, which is from the mission house peg, and then just in case you don't have enough, whee, thrill seeker. Okay.
So basically,
Yeah.
it's going to be a flubber.
I'm telling you, he wanted a Wii build. He's getting one. Alright. And then, so for our starship traits, we use the trait that comes with the ship, which is Desperate Repairs. So every time you get critically hit, you receive a desperation counter. Immediately upon receiving a third desperation counter, you will receive a large hull and shield heal and will be unable to gain desperation counters for a while. Okay. Then I put improved command frequency. This comes from filling out your command specialization tree. It allows you to call in your oh goodness gracious, your fleet support, even if your hull is above 50%. It also, once you get to the improved stage, removed or lowers the timer to 5 minutes instead of 15. And then, because he's going to be moving fast, why not improve pedal to the metal? And this comes from your pilot specialization tree. And then improved critical systems, which comes from having a I can't talk. Having a delta, yeah, temporal agent. Thank you. I was going to say delta. From having a temporal agent, which most of us have, so I put that in there. If you do not have a temporal agent, you can of course leave that out. Alright, so, and then the last thing is, well, second to last thing, space reputation. So I gave the first three are the standard DPS package. So we have our advanced targeting systems, 16% crit severity, our auxiliary power configuration offense, which gives a damage and accuracy boost based on your auxiliary power level. That accuracy is going to be more and more important. And then precision, which gives plus 4% critical chance. And then I went with chrono capacitor array, which reduces the recharge time of your bridge officer abilities, just to get them up just a little bit faster. Okay. And then, of course, the last thing is the active reputation. So we have our old favorites, anti-time entanglement singularity. That is amazing. And then the quantum singularity manipulation. And our refracting tetryon cascade. And then our, oh crap, our biomolecular shield generator, which gives us an extra shield in space. So, and it's always a good thing, hit off your quantum singularity manipulation right before you do the anti-time entanglement. You'll love the results. Alright. Questions, comments?
Seems like it's a flubber build where you
A flubber bill?
where you keep bouncing off the wall.
Well, the person who asked for it loves to fly around and do that kind of thing, so yeah.
So, basically, they wanted to go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. So yeah. So he gave us a bunch of thrust beams and said go at it. So he's gonna test it out. He's gonna make the build and tell us what it can do. How about you, Chris? Any comments?
No, we had discussed this with the skills.
Yeah.
Is I personally prefer what's going to be the shield bleed through versus the hull pen. Mainly because, for me anyway, the hull pen doesn't give enough value, at least for me, to want to pick it up. I think the shield bleed through would be better. Like I say, that's just my personal preference, but
Yeah. And I find that the shields tend to go down rather quickly, and so you don't really need it, so you end up having to chew through the hull. So you need the hull pen to help you do that. But
yeah.
did you just face desk?
I just bumped my leg against the table leg.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not your big toe.
Yeah. But we do like to spitball different things, so people do see the options they have with the budget builds and everything.
Yes, definitely.
But I suppose, moving along, I do have a few interesting bugs for you guys this week for our Buggy Corner. This one is somewhat of a, I guess you could say, Space Barbie issue. There is a couple of people reporting that the dual beam banks fired from the Ferocin Slithus are slightly offset than what they should be. So, essentially not firing from the right areas is what I gather. But, next one we have is there are a few people reporting issues with getting a message that it cannot find the first contact day reenactment queue. If you are seeing that message, then a workaround that I found at the moment is to try to switch maps, or perhaps even try to switch characters or restart the game outright. That should clear it up. I don't know what it is, but it seems like it's going goofy the first time you try to queue for it.
Yeah, what I found was that bug, it only happens if you, instead of going into the PvE queue list and queuing that way, you try and queue for it, open up the little journal thing and clicking on the side.
But yeah, that's, like Neela was saying, that's another way that can trigger it. But it's really a minor thing, but it is worth mentioning. Then, the final bug, and this is a rather more serious one for some of our console players out there. There are a couple of folks saying they're having issues where their arc points are not being rewarded to them as they should be. So, in this person's case, they were trying to go for the Kobali Samsar, but they're not seeing the points rewarded to them like they should. If you are seeing an issue like this, I can say right now, is not something that I can help with. This is something that is best left to customer support. If you are seeing this, then put in a ticket. Tell them, hey, I did this, and this quest. I have this many points, when in actuality I should have this many points. And they can go back and check that for you and award the appropriate amount of points that you should have. So, because that deals with the ARC rewards and everything, that is a more serious bug. So if you are seeing that, please let them know. There may be some type of commonality through people reporting it that they can try to nail down. But that is a very major thing.
Yeah, basically it's the same thing for never winning on a console. That's why I said to send in a ticket. Just normally within a day or two they'll have the points rewarded to you.
Yep.
For something like that, they will. For something like that, they will be on top of it.
Yeah. Like I say, that's pretty much what I've got as far as bugs this week. I am still testing on Tribble for you guys, trying to work out any issues that might potentially come up before they hit holodeck. And everything. I've put a lot more time into it than I'm willing to admit at this point. But as always, if you're seeing any type of issue, any type of bug with your platform, come onto the forums, come to your specific forum now, since we do have separate forums for everybody, and just say, you know, hey, I'm having this issue, this is what's happening, this is how I'm recreating it. If you can get screenshots, or even better yet, video, that's a great big help. Everything, it lets us reproduce it for the devs, and then they can make accurate reports for the QA team that should hopefully have everything fixed. But moving along, we have our Teacher's Corner segment of the evening, and this is actually to do with our first contact day. Take it away,
Yes.
Teacher Kirby.
So I actually went through and recorded playing through the first contact queue or first contact day queue, and went through, explained what I was doing with each thing, and it's actually pretty simple. You know, I'm not going to go through each point now, but yeah, I went through what to do. One of the important things is that I would say you have to go through and make sure you get each part before you worry about upgrading or getting better parts, because otherwise you could end up without a hull or without stabilizers or without an engine because you've been going through and trying to get the purple hull. So definitely, yeah, make sure you get at least one of each part before you worry about trying to get better parts. Comments, questions?
Also, on the getting multiple parts, when, say you have a blue piece and you of an engine or something, and you go back to more piles, you can, the blue and greens that you get, yes, it'll say you don't, it's not usable, but it'll add a number underneath your character portrait for how many engines, stabilizers, and hull that you have.
Okay. Alright. Any other comments, Chris?
Yeah, seems pretty legit.
Alrighty.
But, anyways, folks, that pretty much brings us up to the end of our show for this evening. Sadly, we do not have an Artie with us this evening. He is away at a event. Yes.
Yes, he took his mobile emitter and escaped. He went to MalugaCon in Tampa, Florida. And he's at a fan table and would not mind visitors. So if you are at MalugaCon in Tampa, he's with a fan table group. Table group is 1701st Fleet. So stop by and say hi to Artie.
Most definitely. And also, we do want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Temporal Armada, I believe is the name.
Yes.
These are some folks that we've been kind of, I'll let Kirby explain a little better. I'm brain farting, lack of caffeine.
They are supporting us and we are supporting them. They are rebroadcasting Pilot Review Show on their radio station. So, yeah, if you listen to the station, you'll be hearing some commercials soon, TM, with us, and we'll get you more on that at a later date. But
Yep.
Good guys, the Temporal Armada.
Also, finally, if you would like to see Pilot Review heading out to Las Vegas, we do have a GoFundMe. If you'd like to support us, you're more than welcome to check that out. Any little bit is appreciated. Everything, even if it's just $1, that's one more thing that, or one less dollar for us to have to worry about. This pays for the internet, the electricity, and some of those expenses for the convention itself. Why not? That way we can get you more of those interviews with some of the stars, maybe even some of the developers of the game as well, and get it, some of that news for the game. Hopefully, maybe some convention exclusive stuff for you guys. But even if you can't donate any money, then just spreading the word helps a great bit, and we are grateful for any and all help that you guys are able to give. If not for the people out there listening and everything, we wouldn't even have a show. So we are very grateful for any support that y'all can give. But for now, folks, this is the Pilot Review Show, and we're warping out of here.
Come on, Z.